You're listening to the Diet Rebel podcast with Kiki Smith. If you're a woman who hates the idea of having to choose between loving your body and changing it, then you are a diet rebel and this podcast is for you. In this podcast, we talk about everything from loving your body exactly as it is now to becoming the most fit, lean, and toned you've ever been, no matter how old you are, how many tiny humans you've birthed, or how many times you've lost and regained the same 15 or 50 pounds. Seriously, you don't want to miss it. So grab a snack, preferably protein-based, and sit back and enjoy this episode. One of the things that a lot of women are having problems with is seeing actual results and physique changes from all of the work that they're putting in. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about why you're not seeing these physique changes, because what typically happens if you don't understand why you're not seeing physique changes is that you start kind of random troubleshooting of like, okay, maybe it's my workout plan. And so you find a new workout plan, or maybe, I need to add cardio in, so you add cardio, or you're like, maybe there's a food that I'm intolerant of and you add that. So there's so many things that when we don't know, we don't know. And there's just a huge blind spot because you also don't know what you don't know. So you start searching and you have this whole troubleshooting space from the things that you know versus what you don't know. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense, because we are going to dive in. So there's something that you hear me say over and over on this channel. If you're new here, maybe you haven't heard me say it, but one of them is muscle equals metabolism, but that's a whole nother episode for another day. The other thing that you hear me say in almost every episode is that your body always adapts. So today I want to dive a little bit deeper into why this matters, because this adaptation process is a big part of why people are not seeing results. So what I want to first do is kind of rewind it back to talk a little bit more about like why your body adapts. And this will tie into why people aren't seeing changes from the things that they're doing. The main reason that your body adapts is because it doesn't like change. Your body despises change. It does not want to change. So its amazing ability to adapt stems from the fact that it doesn't want to change. So you can see this show up in your life in a lot of different ways, whether it's the fact that you can brush your teeth without thinking about it, or drive to the same place over and over without thinking about it. A reason why that typically happens is because of the fact that you've done it so many times that pretty much by the time you did it like 3, 4, 10 times, your brain was like, okay, obviously we're going to be doing this all the time. So let me adapt. Let me get much quicker at being able to get this done. So your body is always trying to get efficient in what it's doing. So whenever it notices you doing something over and over again, your body is so smart that it wants to adapt to it quickly because it doesn't want to do that much. Like your brain's actually kind of lazy and it's trying to save you from having to remember how to do things like tie your shoe, drive to work every day, brush your teeth, wash dishes and things like that. That's the reason why your mind can wander while you're doing some of those things. Now, what does that have to do with your weight loss? Well, one of the things that you hear me say a lot in some of the other videos on my channel, I talk about how this pertains to your metabolism. So if you haven't seen those videos, then definitely check those out, where I talk a little bit more about how your metabolism is always adapting, because it's kind of like the thermostat setting on your house. So in the sense of your metabolism, the thing that I'm usually saying is the fact that like, if you were to set the thermostat in your metabolism to your thermostat metabolism. So say you set the AC in your house to 70 degrees. Then that means that anytime the temperature in your house goes to either 71, 72 degrees, what's happening with your metabolism, just like with your AC unit, is this homeostasis. That's what your body's always trying to do, is it wants to kick in to bring that temperature back down to where you set it at. So the same thing, if you have your heat on and your heat is set to 75 and the temperature in your house drops to 73, your heat is going to kick on to bring the temperature back up. The way that your thermostat works at home is also that same homeostasis environment. That is what your body is trying to create. So one of the things that it's always doing, this is the reason why habits are hard to break, because of the fact that when you do something outside of that habit, your brain wants to bring you back to homeostasis and do the thing that it's used to doing, the thing that you've set it to do all the time. When it comes to trying to change your body, there's metabolic set points, there are muscle set points, there's exercise set points, there's cardiovascular set points. So your body has all of these points that you have set your thermostat at. And those are the things that are always going to be easiest for you because of the fact that your body has adapted to them. When you make a change, your body at first is going to want to pull you back. Homeostasis is going to want to pull you back to what the normal thing is. But the more that you do the thing, it is all going to adapt. The second that it kind of feels that, okay, you're obviously going to keep doing this thing, it's going to adapt quickly. And once it adapts, now you're actually no longer going to see any changes from that. So it's during that time period where things are the hardest, where they are the most difficult, where there's the most resistance, that the change actually happens. So the same way that that's when the changes in your brain are occurring, that is also what's happening with your metabolism as well as your muscle. Now, the reason muscle matters is because not only does that affect your metabolism, check out all of my videos where I talk about that, but when women are talking about they don't see changes, when they're talking about physically seeing changes in themselves, shape-shifting, transforming their body, typically that has something to do with muscle, because muscle is what's going to change that shape of your body and make things more like toned or tight or lean or whatever the case is that you're looking for. So when it comes to losing weight, changing the shape of your body, your muscles come into play. So the exact same thing is happening with your muscles. It's during the most challenging things that your muscles are going to essentially tear, and then they're going to repair bigger and stronger where they can be more defined and pronounced so that you can get that leanness that you're looking for. If you are not placing enough stimulus on the muscle to elicit that adaptation process, if you're not lifting in a way that's pretty much more than you can handle, because essentially that's what causes your body to adapt, period, is usually when we're just like trying to do it, or if we do something that's slightly out of homeostasis, our brain, our habits, our behavior, it brings us back into homeostasis. If we do something once or twice, our body just tries to get us to not necessarily do it again. So therefore we don't. When you place more on your body, when there's stress on the body, it forces it to adapt. That's the same reason why bones can like break, but they can come back together again. Muscles can tear, but it can grow and repair again, bigger and stronger. If you want your body to change, if you want these muscles that are lying beneath your fat to start shape-shifting your body, then you're going to have to add stress to the muscle to force it to adapt. In the beginning stages, that is going to be a hard thing for your muscle to do. You're applying that resistance, and unless you're doing something that's super lightweight, then your body is going to be forced to adapt to it. So this is where you start seeing the differences in the different rep ranges and things like that when it comes to resistance training. If you are picking up a weight that you can easily lift for 8 to 10 reps just because that's what the workout plan says, and then you set it back down, but you actually could have done 15, you have not forced your body to adapt. So sometimes we're doing this out of fear. We're like, I don't know. You look at the next weight and you're like, that seems too heavy for me to even try to lift. But that is the point, is because what's going to actually force your body to adapt is that stress of doing something that is more than you are currently capable of handling. Your body adapts to cardio this exact same way. So the same way that maybe if you start off and like you're huffing and puffing at 10 minutes, eventually you do 10 minutes enough times, your body gets the picture really quickly, and it's like, okay, obviously this 10 minutes thing is going to be something that we're going to do, and it moves to get efficient very quick. And so you can also check out some of my videos before, not only the last couple where I talked about cardio, but also there's one where I talk about heart rate monitors in cardio and how you can start to see that adaptation occur. And what usually happens is that when your body adapts to cardio, you're doing the same amount of work, the same amount of minutes of cardio, but you are actually burning less calories. That means your body has gotten efficient. It has adapted. So that is how it starts to actually get in the way of progress, because it's during the time period where you have not adapted that your body is making the changes. So it's when you lift something that is too heavy that your muscle tears and repairs back bigger and stronger. Once that weight is no longer too heavy, that muscle is not tearing anymore, so therefore it's not repairing bigger and stronger. Does this mean go in the gym like, and you've never lifted before and be like, oh, I'm going to just pick up 150 pounds and do it. No, we're talking about heavy for you. So remember that heavy is always relative. Whenever I'm saying heavy, it just means that, like I said before, if you can lift something for 15 reps, but you only lift it for 8 reps, you have not put enough challenge on that muscle to activate it to cause it to change. That means you're staying in your adaptive state or lower than your adaptive state. Therefore, you are not going to see any changes. The only way for you to continue to see changes is to continually challenge the muscle to a capacity that it has not been challenged before. This can come in a variety of things. This can come from a change in rep pattern. This can come from a change in weight selection. This can come from a change in how many seconds you're resting between sets. This can come from so many different things, just changing the angle of the movement, the type of exercise hitting the muscle from, a different way. All of those things come into play when we're talking about changing up that stimulus. So when you're taking that into consideration, that is the principle of overload. So this progressive overload where you're constantly challenging the muscle. It doesn't always mean lifting heavier. Sometimes it does, but there's a lot of manipulation that you can do within that overload territory to make sure that you are challenging the muscle in a way that it has not been challenged before, and know that the second that that is no longer a challenge, your body is not adapting. So there has to be a very strategic method for the way that you're changing things up, and you need to kind of know what's coming next so that once you're past that, usually this happens within 4 to 6 weeks. That's why you should constantly be changing out your workouts, because of the fact that a lot of times that adaptation has happened by week like 3, and the extra week is just kind of, you relaxing in that phase before moving to the next thing and changing it. Now, so you want to take into account this principle of overload factor. The other reason why a lot of women are not seeing results is because of what's called the principle of reversibility. This reversibility is kind of this use it or lose it factor. So you have this space where maybe you started off in this territory where you're actually overloading, which some women stumble into this accidentally, which we tend to call newbie gains. Because in those beginning phases, whenever you hear the term newbie gains, what's happening is that every single stimulus is new. Every single stimulus is causing your body to adapt. It's just adapting all over the place. And all of that adaptation is causing changes. But once you've gotten to a point where all the neurological connections have been made, your body's like, okay, I understand what a bicep curl is. This is not new to me anymore. Now you have to start following that protocol of it being heavier. But in the beginning, if you've never done a bicep curl, you start doing a bicep curl, that in and of itself causes an adaptation. Same thing with all of the other muscle groups. This is the reason why a lot of people can go a year or so in that newbie gains territory, because they're just learning all these new and different exercises. But usually it only takes a couple of months for your brain to make the connection of how that movement is. And it goes from being this choppy, wonky thing that you're I don't even know if I'm executing this right, to okay, I'm doing this, I'm crushing it in the gym. I know I can freaking do this exercise with my eyes closed, except for I don't want to hurt anything type thing. So when you get into that territory is when you have to start following the rules, but that's also where newbie gains come in. Now, when you talk about this reversing process, that is that when you stop doing these things, or when you get to the point where you're in that adaptive state, you've gotten to the point where okay, I was challenging myself, but now I just really like this rep range, so I'm going to stay here. Now you move into this territory where all of your progress can start to reverse. So this reversing is the use it or lose it. So if you are not challenging your body, if you are not challenging your muscles with this weight that is constantly overloading it in some way, you're not just standing still. You actually start moving backwards. Things start going in reverse. So you start experiencing some muscle atrophy. You start experiencing what is catabolism. Your body is breaking down muscle tissue for fuel. Muscle is so metabolically expensive that if you're not doing the things that it requires in order for you to build or keep it, your body sees it as an energetic waste. This is a waste of our time, energy, and resources to keep this muscle around. So it starts trying to get back to homeostasis, And this is where that can start to work against you because of the fact that, yes, your body was trying to stabilize with all the adaptation that it was doing here, but you're always kind of fighting this uphill battle of the fact that your body is in favor of atrophy. That use it or lose it principle is real. Your body wants to get rid of muscle at the first sign of trouble. So not only do you need this overload in order to start forcing your body to change, the second that you get too comfortable and you're like, maybe I don't need overload anymore, or this feels heavy enough, or I think that's about how much I lifted last time, or whatever the case may be, all these different reasons why we are like secretly sabotaging this overload. Probably that homeostasis kicking in because your brain wants to stay the same. It doesn't want these adaptations. It doesn't want you to lift heavier and outside of your comfort zone. Then you're going to actually be losing, even though you're still in the gym, even though you're still doing the things, even though you're lifting at what was heavy before, it is no longer working because now things are reversing. Now your body is catabolizing this muscle tissue. Now you are experiencing this muscle atrophy so that you're putting in so much work, but you're seeing like diminishing returns on your results. That's where that Newbie Gains equation typically comes in, and or it's something that hits a lot of even advanced people by surprise because of the fact that they don't realize that the more advanced that you get, the more strategy there has to be in what you're doing. It's not just as simple as go lift heavy things, because what is heavy? What was heavy last week? How do you change that up this week? How do you, circumvent the fact that like, okay, I can't like lift heavier and heavier into eternity. There has to be something else that's changing. That's when all of these different things come in, the amount of time under tension, the amount, your rest periods, and all of these things come in to captivate that muscle and to activate it in a new and a different way. So these are the two things that are usually coming into play when we are talking about women not seeing results. And like I said, they all stem back to the fact that your body wants to stay the same. Your body does not want to change. Your brain does not like change. It is not welcome. So when you are doing these things, like you have to consciously force it. The upside of that is that because your brain doesn't like change, it will adapt. So once you get past the initial mind part of the fact that, okay, I need to change this up in some way, when you do make those changes, you do it enough times, it only takes a little bit and your brain is going to adapt because it wants to just get to it quickly. I want to normalize this as quick as possible. And so you want to take advantage of that so that your body can constantly be seeking to normalize things, but at the same time, you're constantly reintroducing something new for it to normalize. That constant change, that constant introduction of new and inventive ways, they don't really have to be inventive. It's pretty old school. It's pretty simple. It's just not easy. But that constant introduction of adding these things that challenge the muscle in a capacity that it's never been challenged before is going to create that constant change. And in this journey to changing your body, transforming, shape shifting, having this body recomposition, losing fat, but keeping your muscle, that is something that is an adaptation response. You are trying to change your thermostat setting for your body to understand that I want to lower the amount of fat that has been acceptable in the past. I want to lower my thermostat setting for fat, and I want to increase my thermostat setting for muscle. And the way that you do that is through what we're talking about here, and that is from periodization. So that is having these periods of being in different phases, allowing your body to adapt and then changing it again, allowing your body to adapt and then changing it again, and being able to cycle through various phases in order to see the results that you want. So if you are somebody who needs a little bit of help with periodization, I highly recommend checking out my workout app where I do all the periodization for you and change all those little intricacies for you every single phase, every single month, all year long. Why? Because it's not just about a 12-week plan. It's about what you're doing constantly over time. And a lot of times when we are doing these things on our own, we're not always taking into account what we did last phase and what we're going to do next phase when we're putting them together. If you are embarking on this journey on your own, you're creating your own workout plans, that is the type of stuff that you want to always keep in mind is, what did I do last phase? How can I tweak that in some way this phase so that I'm challenging my muscles in a way that I never have challenged them before, or at least haven't challenged them for in a long time because of the fact that even if you had like a long layoff from a certain phase, a lot of times then you can go back to it and maybe see similar results again because it's kind of like the whole newbie gains thing again. So if you're doing this on your own, if you're figuring out your own workout plans, those are the things that you want to constantly be changing: your time under tension, your rest periods, your rep ranges, the order of your workouts, making sure that you're doing them in a specific order, and like all of those things, the angle of the exercises all come into play as far as how you're challenging your muscle and in doing something that hasn't been done to it yet or in a very long time, something that it hasn't adapted to. Keeping that constantly non-adapted state is what changes your body. Having that efficiency is where you start to get stagnant and not see changes. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why you really want to take that into consideration when doing cardio, because that's the biggest thing that's happening with cardio is that your body is trying to hurry up and adapt and just get better at endurance. And once it's better at endurance, then you're not necessarily seeing that calorie burn anymore. In fact, you're probably seeing less of a calorie burn, even though you're doing more of the work. Hopefully that gave you guys a little bit more insight. Not hopefully, it should. If it didn't, just put it on repeat until this gets in your brain, because the things that I shared here today will be the things that will dramatically change the results that you're seeing from your workouts if you actually do them. So now you know what to do. When you know better, do better. So get out there and figure out ways to change things up and set your mind to embrace this challenge / adaptation so that you can tell your brain, look, I know you don't want to change. I get it, but we're doing this. And so it will actually help you to reach for that consistency level that you need in order to see the results from your workouts, but also be detached enough to switch things up when needed so that you can continue to get the results. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you next Thursday. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode, and make sure you keep in touch. So whether that's through DMs or email, I would love to know what you felt about this episode, or if you have topics that you'd like me to cover in future episodes. You can DM me on Facebook at EM2WL or over on Instagram at eatmore2wayless, or via email at info@eatmoretoway-less.com. If you're completely new to the Eat More to Weigh Less process, you can also grab our quick start guide at eatmoretoway-less.com/start. See you next time.